Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back and welcome to another Tag Tuesday. It's been a while since I've done a tag and I am very behind, so I'm glad to finally be getting to my tags list. And the tag I'm doing today began with Eric Carl Anderson from Lonesome Reader and Sarah from Hardcover Hearts. They did a video where they talked about their top 5 English novels. And then Hannah from Hannah's Books then took that idea and started a pseudo tag with some suggestions on how to possibly do this tag. So there's different variations that you can do. And then Shelley from Shelley Swearingen's Library officially turned this into a tag and was very kind to include me when she tagged people. So thanks to Shelley for the tag and for your patience, because it has taken me a very long time to finally get to this. So I will leave links to Shelley's channel and tag video below, as well as Eric, Sarah, and Hannah's videos and channels. My twist on this tag is that I'm going to share 5 of my favorite English novels written by female authors, and all of the books are published up until the year that I was born. It turns out that I have not read that many, so my pool is rather small. I would have had a much wider range to draw from if it were, 5 English books that I want to read. But these 5 books are all British authors that I have read. So let's get started. And the 5 favorites, I'm going to share them in order of publication. So starting in 1813 with probably my most favorite book on this entire list, and that is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I loved everything about this book. I loved the characters, I loved how funny it was, I loved that I read it as a buddy read with 2 of my subscribers and friends, Karen and Christine. I love that it still makes me smile. I compare all other Austen novels to it, and none of them have lived up to the same feeling and enjoyability for me, at least so far. This is just a book that I will definitely reread, which is also saying something for me because I am not much of a rereader. And for me, the rereading would be most enjoyable, I think, for this one because of the wit and characters. I loved some of the one-liners. Second on the list is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which was published in 1818. And I only read this maybe 2 years ago now. This book was surprising to me because I really had no idea what it was going to be about when I started reading it, and what I did know about Frankenstein at the time had been so distorted because of pop culture that I was surprised at how sad this book was. And I was very impressed by the number of themes in this story and the depth of those themes. I did a review on this book when I first read it, so I will leave a link to that below. This is another one that I may reread too, because I think going into the book, knowing the story the second time around, it might allow me to really focus on the themes more and maybe have an even deeper understanding of the story. I remember there being a lot of layers to it, and that was something that I wasn't expecting at all, so I think that it would be good to explore that a little bit more. Next, published in 1931, is The Waves by Virginia Woolf, and this is the only book that I've read by Virginia Woolf, at least so far. I have several of her other books, but this is a book that once I finished it, I was okay with it, but it wasn't until after I sat with it for some time and kind of let it percolate that I really appreciated it. This is written in a stream of consciousness, and again, it just surprised me. Once I sat with it and let it settle, I was surprised how much was really in this book. And since I started talking about rereads, I will continue that trend. I'm not as anxious to do a reread of this one, But I think that if I did, that I would appreciate each character a little bit more. There's like 6 or 7 characters, and I think there's a lot to get out of this one too. I loved the descriptions, and there was definitely a lot of symbolism used. So I'm thinking that a reread would, make me even more aware of the symbolism. This next one is another book that quickly became a favorite classic for me, and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This was published in 1938. And I loved the atmosphere created in this book. I think it's so well done. And I also love the idea of having a well fleshed out character who isn't physically present. It kind of reminds me of the show Frasier, if you ever watched that, and the character of Maris, who is Niles' wife. She's never seen, but we know all about her and the type of woman she is, and I just feel that a bit in this novel, which is named after a character that is not present and yet ever present and influential all at the same time. And then, the main character is not named at all. And I love that contrast, and I think this is a book that I would also do a reread of. Even knowing the twist at the end, I still think, there could be a lot brought out in this one. The final book I'm going to talk about is The Sea by Iris Murdoch. This was published the year that I was born, 1978. I did not love this book, but once again, it's one that I appreciated more over time. I read it with Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot, 1001 Book Club, and I'm really glad that I read it. It's one of those books where I didn't really care for the main character, but something draws you to them anyway. It's kind of like a car wreck, you can't help but watch. And this is not one that I care to reread anytime soon, but it did make me want to read more of Iris Murdoch. And I'm wondering if after I read more by her, if I then went back to The Sea, I think I might get more out of it. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but somehow it makes sense in my head. I did like the writing, and there was definitely character development in this. I found it took me a while to get into it, and that might have put me off a bit. I felt like the entire novel just took forever to read. So perhaps in a reread, already knowing the characters and the story, it might go more smoothly. So those are 5 of my top English novels. I'm going to tag a couple of people to do, or a few people maybe, to do this tag. I don't think they have done it yet, and for me, this tag screams Art from Bookshelf Odyssey to me. So Art, I'm going to tag you. Art loves Dickens and other English novels, so I think he would have a good take on this tag. I am also going to tag Grant from Grant Loves Books. And I'm going to do one more, and this is someone who is brand new on BookTube and new to me. I am going to tag Debbie from Books and Bujo. I know that Debbie loves stationery. I'm not sure how Debbie feels about English novels, so we will see. As always, there is no pressure, but if any of you are up to doing this tag, I would love to hear your answers. Thanks again to Shelley for tagging me in this, and for Eric, Sarah, and Hannah, who kind of got the ball rolling. Please let me know if you have read any of these. Are any of these on your favorites list? Would you reread any of these, or have you read any of these? I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.